Hello guys, in this part we'll be taking a look at simulating your design. In order to simulate your design, switch to the Simulation tab, click on your test bench file, and then double click Simulate Behavioral Model. Now before I click this, I should say that we've been getting a lot of questions about this. So when you're simulating, you should make sure that the test bench is highlighted, not your design file. So don't do this. Click on your test bench first and then simulate. So my simulation has been done. Now let's see the results. Now for this simulation, we will take a look at data out, data in, and valid in. In order to observe these better, I'm going to convert data out and data in to unsigned decimals. So here I press here and then unsigned decimal. Right click, radii, and then unsigned decimal. In order to make our simulation easier, I'm going to bring up an image. This image here was taken from your slides, so I'm going to put this down here while doing the simulation. So let's start from the data in. Here we see that data in was given 4, and in order to confirm this input, valid in was given 1. So this means that the input 4 was given from the switches, and then valid in button was pressed once. So this should confirm the input 4 as our first number. And as you can see, we have 4 on data out. So if we were to trace this from our design here, we are currently at S0. And then while the valid in is 0, we're displaying 0, as you can see here. And then when valid in comes here, data out is equal to our input, which is also the number. So now we have transitioned to S1 state. So let's see what's going to happen now. So now our input is 0. So in this state, we're supposed to enter an operation. So what is 0? 0 is multiplication. So we have entered as 0, and then we have pressed the valid button. So now what should happen? It was displaying number up until now. I've pressed valid and my operation is 0. So this transition is going to happen, meaning that my data out is going to be equal to my operation. So my operation was multiplication, meaning 0. And here you can see that I'm displaying 0. So now we have transitioned to the S2 state. So in this state, we're going to get the second number. So while the valid in is 0, we just display the operation. And then once it becomes 1, we're going to calculate the result and then enter it to the output. So what happens here? I've entered 3. I've pressed the valid button. So what's going to happen? Our number was 4. Our current data in is 3. So 4 times 3 should be 12. And if we look at the data out, one cycle after the valid in, we see 12. So that was one operation. So let's look at the next one. Here we have entered 4. Oh, and also I should note that here we did this transition after displaying the result. So this transition happens after you've displayed the result. So now I'm back at the S0 state. Okay, so back at our second example, I've entered 4, I've pressed valid, I'm displaying 4. We've switched to the S1 state now. I've pressed 1, I've pressed the validate button, I'm displaying 1, which is an addition. And then I've entered a 3, pressed the valid button, and then I get 7. Why? Because we did 4 plus 3, which is 7. So now we've finished our multiplication and addition tests, and then next up we have our subtraction test, but that is very similar to the previous ones, so I'm going to skip this. So let's look at our square example. Our square example starts here. So currently I'm at S0. I've entered 8, which is going to be my number. I've validated it. So right now my data my data out is equal to 8 on my number. Here my data out has been equaled to 8. Next, I'm going to enter my operation. Here we can see that a 3 has been entered. What is 3? 3 is number times a number, meaning square of a number. So what's going to happen here? I'm at S1. I've received a valid equals 1, and my operation is equal to 3, meaning that we're going to do this transition. We're going to transition to S0 while my data out is equal to the result. So let's look at it here. I've entered 8 for the number, 3 for the operation. Once I validated it, 1 clock cycle later, I get 64, which is 8 times 8. Next up, we have our increment operator, which is very similar to our square operator. So for this one, we've entered a 9. Remember, we're back at S0. So we've entered a 9, pressed valid. This is going to be stored as the number, and this number is going to be displayed on the output. Here, as you can see, 9 has been displayed on the output. So we've transitioned to S1. Let's see what's happening here. In this state, for the operation, we've entered 4. So 4 is increment by 2. We have validated it. So here, operation 4 is included in this transition here, as you can see. So right now our data out should be equal to our result. So 9 plus 2 should be equal to 11. So my result is equal to 11. Next we have the decrement by 2 operation, which is very similar to the previous one, so I'm going to skip this as well. Once you've done this simulation, you should look at your console and see that for each test you're getting the right value. And then if you had no errors, you should get a design contains no error, well done message. Once you receive this message, you have completed your assignment.